Imagine standing at the edge of a crowded street, the world rushing by you at 1,000,000 miles per hour. The sounds of car horns, people shouting, and endless distractions create a chaotic storm around you. In this whirlwind, you feel the pressure to move faster, to do more, to prove yourself. But then, what if everything you've been chasing could be found in the stillness, in the silence? What if the secret to true success lies not in rushing, but in waiting for the right moment, allowing life to unfold naturally? The Stoics, especially philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, understood this profound truth. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Epictetus, the Discourses. They knew that peace and success don't come from constant striving, but from cultivating an inner calm that lets us act when the time is right, without forcing anything. What if, by simply embracing silence and letting go of the need to control every outcome, you could unlock the life you've always dreamed of? In this chaotic world, the true power lies in doing less and allowing everything to come to you naturally. This journey to true freedom and success starts now. 1. The power of silence in Stoicism. Silence, in the context of Stoicism, is not merely the absence of sound. It is a conscious and deliberate choice to control the mind and emotions. It is the art of choosing when to speak and when to remain silent, not out of fear or weakness, but out of a deep understanding of the power that lies in inner tranquility. In our world today, where noise is omnipresent, be it from the constant hum of technology, the pressure to perform, or the endless stream of distractions, Stoicism offers us a radically different approach, the ability to find clarity and peace in the quiet moments. The Stoics taught that silence is not a passive act, but a profound method for achieving self-mastery. When we are silent, we allow ourselves the space to listen to our own thoughts and observe the world without reacting impulsively. In doing so, we come to understand ourselves better. Instead of being swept away by the chaos around us, we begin to observe our emotions and thoughts without being consumed by them. This is where true self-awareness lies. The ability to pause, to take a breath before reacting, opens the door to wisdom. In moments of silence, we reflect on our lives, our goals, and our values, and we begin to see things more clearly. Consider the example of a Stoic philosopher who faced a tremendous challenge, one that would have sent most people into a frenzy of frustration and action. Instead of reacting immediately, this philosopher chose silence. In that silence, they found clarity and composure, realizing that the solution would not come from frantic action, but from a calm, measured response. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy. The recognition that we cannot control external events, but we can control our reaction to them. The philosopher understood that their inner state was far more important than any external turmoil. By embracing silence, they not only preserved their own peace, but also gained the wisdom needed to face the challenge with grace and strength. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, reminds us of this powerful truth in his Meditations. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. In this simple yet profound statement, Marcus Aurelius highlights the direct connection between our mental state and our overall well-being. When we allow ourselves the space to think clearly, without the clutter of external noise or the rush to act, we can cultivate a deeper sense of happiness and peace. Silence enables us to filter out distractions and focus on what truly matters, our own thoughts, our actions, and our inner world. The true power of silence, however, is not just in its ability to bring clarity to the mind. It also allows us to build resilience and strength. In a world that constantly demands more of us, more work, more responses, more engagement, Stoicism offers us a different path. It teaches us that strength is not always about doing more, but about knowing when to do less. It is about pausing, stepping back, and reflecting before rushing into action. This stillness, rather than weakness, becomes a source of tremendous power. It is in the quiet moments that we find the clarity to make the right decisions, the strength to endure hardship, and the wisdom to understand ourselves and others better. Take, for example, the story of Epictetus, another prominent Stoic philosopher. Born a slave, Epictetus faced many hardships in his life, yet he became known for his wisdom and inner strength. His life was not one of constant noise and action, but one of deliberate silence and reflection. When faced with difficulties, Epictetus did not react in anger or frustration. Instead, he turned inward, using his moments of silence to practice self-control and to align his thoughts with the wisdom of Stoic principles. Through silence, he found the freedom to control his mind, regardless of his external circumstances. This is the true power of silence in Stoicism. It allows us to transcend our external circumstances and focus on mastering our inner world. Silence, then, is not simply a tool for personal peace, but a path to self-improvement. It helps us to see the world not through the lens of chaos, but with a clear and discerning eye. By learning to embrace silence, we can cultivate a deeper sense of purpose, moving through life with intentionality and calm. We begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles, and we develop the patience and resilience necessary to navigate life's challenges. In silence, we not only find our true selves, but also unlock our potential to respond to life's challenges with wisdom and grace. In Stoicism, silence is not about retreating from the world, but about engaging with it in a more meaningful and conscious way. By practicing silence, we learn to prioritize what truly matters: our thoughts, our actions, and our ability to respond to the world with clarity. In a world that constantly demands more from us, silence offers us a way to step back, reflect, and reconnect with our deeper values. It is in these moments of quiet that we find the strength to face life's difficulties with courage, wisdom, and resilience. The Stoics teach us that silence is a powerful tool for self-mastery, a way to control our thoughts and emotions, and ultimately, a way to live a more peaceful and fulfilling life. By embracing silence, we unlock the door to a life of deeper understanding and inner strength, where we can respond to the world not with haste or panic, but with calm, clarity, and purpose. In this silence, everything will come to us naturally: our success, our peace, and our happiness. 2. Silence versus the noise of modern life. In today's fast-paced world, the noise is incessant. Everywhere we go, we are bombarded with sounds: car horns, the chatter of people, constant notifications from our phones, and the endless hum of technology. It seems as if the world never stops. People are always rushing from one place to another, always trying to be faster, more efficient, more successful. The pressure to keep up with the relentless pace of modern life is overwhelming. Yet, in this chaos, there is something profoundly missing: the ability to simply pause, listen, and reflect. The noise of modern life is not just external, it is also internal. The constant bombardment of information, the never-ending to-do lists, and the pressure to be productive can cloud our minds and make us forget the importance of self-reflection. In a society where everyone is constantly chasing something, whether it's career advancement, social validation, or material success, no one seems to stop and ask themselves, what do I truly need? This is where the power of silence becomes invaluable. While the noise around us can lead to anxiety and confusion, silence opens up a space for clarity and insight. It is in moments of quiet that we can reconnect with ourselves, understand our true desires, and tap into our inner creativity. Silence allows us to step away from the noise, both external and internal, and gain the perspective necessary to make better decisions, foster personal growth, and ultimately lead more fulfilling lives. In the constant rush to do more, we forget that doing less can often lead to greater rewards. Silence allows us to be present in the moment, to engage deeply with our thoughts and feelings, and to observe the world without the need for immediate reaction. By creating space for reflection, we can make choices based on thoughtful consideration rather than hasty impulses. Take, for example, the life of an artist. In a world where success is often measured by fame, wealth, or recognition, many artists find themselves chasing after external validation. The desire for accolades can overshadow the creative process itself, leading to burnout and frustration. However, some artists have found that true inspiration arises not from seeking validation, but from returning to silence. By stepping away from the noise of expectations and the pressure to succeed, they allow themselves to create freely, without judgment or constraint. In this space, they discover their true voice, and it is in this quiet that their most profound works of art are born. This idea of returning to silence and finding inspiration in stillness is not limited to artists. It is relevant to anyone in any field who seeks to achieve greatness. Silence creates room for clarity. It allows us to examine our lives without the distortion of outside influences and to realign ourselves with our core values. In fact, many of the greatest thinkers, leaders, and innovators throughout history have embraced the power of silence. They knew that in order to make the most meaningful contributions to the world, they first had to learn to listen to themselves. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, understood this deeply. He wrote in his Meditations, "Silence is a lesson learned through life, not a mere absence of sound." This profound insight reveals that silence is not merely the absence of external noise, but rather a practice of tuning out the distractions in order to focus on what is truly important. For Marcus, silence was a way to train the mind and soul, allowing him to lead with wisdom and virtue rather than being swept up in the noise of the empire or his emotions. In today's world, silence has become a rare commodity. We are constantly connected, constantly on. Our devices demand our attention, and social media constantly bombards us with comparisons and the pressure to perform. The hustle and grind mentality is glorified, making it difficult to imagine taking a step back and simply being still. However, the constant noise can lead to stress, burnout, and a sense of emptiness. We may be busy, but are we truly living? The problem with the noise is that it keeps us from tuning into ourselves. We often live our lives in reaction to external stimuli, constantly adjusting our actions based on what others expect from us or what society deems important. Silence, on the other hand, allows us to disconnect from these external pressures and reconnect with our inner compass. In silence, we hear the whispers of our true desires, and we gain the clarity needed to make choices that align with our values. When we allow ourselves the space to be silent, we open the door to profound personal growth. It is in the quiet moments that we reflect on our past experiences, learn from them, and plan our future with purpose. Silence gives us the opportunity to deepen our self-awareness and align our actions with our true intentions. It is in these moments of stillness that we cultivate the strength and wisdom to face life's challenges with grace and resilience. Moreover, silence fosters creativity. The world may be filled with noise, but true innovation and originality emerge from the quiet. Silence provides the mental space for ideas to take root, for thoughts to marinate, and for new connections to be made. It is in the absence of noise that we are able to truly hear our own voice and let it guide us toward creative breakthroughs. Whether it's in art, business, or any other field, the greatest ideas often come when we allow ourselves the freedom to think without the constraints of outside noise. In a sense, silence is a form of self-care. Just as we need sleep to rejuvenate our bodies, we need moments of silence to restore our minds. By stepping away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life, we give ourselves the opportunity to recharge and gain perspective. Silence is not a luxury. It is a necessity for our well-being. It is through silence that we nurture our mental and emotional health, allowing us to approach life with a clear mind and a calm heart. The paradox is that in a world obsessed with noise and activity, it is often the quietest ones who achieve the most. They are not distracted by the need for validation or external praise. Instead, they focus on what truly matters: their work, their passions, and their inner peace. Success for them is not measured by how loudly they speak or how fast they move, but by the quality of their thoughts and actions. In silence, they find the strength to act with purpose and precision, making their mark on the world without the need for fanfare. In conclusion, the noise of modern life is an ever-present force that can overwhelm and distract us from what truly matters. However, silence offers us a refuge from this chaos, a space where we can reconnect with ourselves, gain clarity, and unlock our creativity. By embracing the power of silence, we can transform our lives and approach the world with a deeper sense of purpose and authenticity. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of awareness, and it is in this stillness that we find the true power to create, grow, and succeed. 3. Applying silence to your life. In a world that constantly demands our attention and action, it can be incredibly difficult to find moments of stillness. We live in a time where multitasking is often seen as a measure of productivity, and silence is frequently mistaken for inactivity. However, Stoicism teaches us that silence is not only essential, but also powerful. It is through silence that we can cultivate self-awareness, master our emotions, and ultimately unlock our true potential. But how do we begin to apply this concept of silence to our daily lives? One of the simplest ways to start practicing silence is by incorporating mindfulness exercises such as meditation into your routine. Meditation is a practice that trains the mind to focus and quiet the noise of the world around us. By setting aside just a few minutes each day to sit in silence, you can begin to clear the mental clutter that often clouds your thoughts. The process of meditation allows you to observe your mind without judgment, giving you the space to experience your emotions and thoughts without reacting immediately. This is where true freedom lies, when you are no longer controlled by your thoughts or external circumstances, but instead can observe them with clarity and composure. Another simple but effective exercise is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and emotions can serve as an outlet for the mind, helping to release the mental buildup that comes with the stresses of everyday life. When you write, you give yourself permission to pause and reflect. Journaling offers a powerful way to connect with your inner self, to examine your feelings, and to understand the events that are affecting your life. Through this practice, you are engaging in the kind of self-awareness that allows you to gain control over your reactions and create space for wisdom to arise. Consider the example of a creative professional, a writer or artist perhaps, who begins practicing silence through meditation and journaling. At first, this individual might feel frustrated with the lack of immediate results. However, as they continue with their practice, they begin to notice something profound. The constant hum of inner turmoil and external distractions slowly fades away. In this space of silence, they find new clarity and inspiration. The pressure to perform and produce results dissipates, and creativity flourishes. In silence, they tap into a deeper well of insight, and their work becomes more authentic and impactful. This shift is not unique to artists or creative professionals. It applies to anyone seeking to improve their life. Whether you are a student, a business person, or simply someone looking to enhance their well-being, silence is an indispensable tool for growth. It allows us to take a step back from the constant noise of society and reflect on what truly matters to us. By practicing silence, we begin to tune into our true desires, our values, and our inner wisdom. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, famously stated, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The Discourses. This quote encapsulates the essence of self-mastery. Freedom, according to Stoicism, does not come from external achievements or possessions, but from the ability to control our own thoughts and actions. Silence is the key to mastering ourselves. When we embrace silence, we create the mental space necessary to recognize our impulses and emotions and to choose how we respond to them. This ability to choose rather than react impulsively is the hallmark of true freedom. As we cultivate the practice of silence, we begin to understand its deeper purpose, not just to find peace, but to act with intention and purpose. The next step is to translate the insights gained from silence into meaningful action. Success, as defined by Stoicism, is not about rushing to achieve external goals, but about acting in harmony with our inner values and purpose. This is where the true power of silence lies. It is not passive but active, guiding us to make deliberate choices and take thoughtful steps toward our goals. In practice, this means taking the time to pause before making decisions, whether big or small. Instead of rushing to act, you allow yourself to sit with the decision, to listen to your inner voice, and to trust that the right course will emerge. This is especially important in a world that often pressures us to act quickly and without hesitation. In moments of silence, we resist the temptation to chase after immediate gratification or external approval. Instead, we focus on what truly matters and make decisions based on our inner guidance. A powerful example of this can be seen in the story of a successful entrepreneur who made a conscious decision to embrace silence in their work life. Early on in their career, they were constantly chasing after recognition, attending networking events, posting achievements on social media, and seeking validation from others. However, they found that this constant pursuit of external approval left them feeling drained and unfulfilled. Over time, they decided to retreat from the noise. They focused more on the quality of their work, the integrity of their decisions, and the value they were creating rather than seeking constant external recognition. As they embraced silence and allowed their success to speak for itself, they found that their business began to thrive. Clients and partners were drawn to their quiet confidence and the authenticity of their work. Instead of constantly promoting themselves, they let the results of their efforts speak louder than words. This story illustrates the power of acting from a place of silence and inner clarity. When we stop seeking validation and instead focus on what is truly important, whether it's creating meaningful work, building strong relationships, or living according to our values, success comes naturally. The hustle and grind that are so glorified in modern society are not the paths to fulfillment. It is through silence and mindful action that we create a life that aligns with our true purpose, and in doing so, success follows naturally. Silence is not just a tool for personal peace, it is a powerful force for transformation. When we practice silence, we gain the clarity and strength needed to act with purpose and integrity. Instead of rushing into decisions or chasing external validation, we learn to move through life with intention. We begin to understand that true success is not measured by how loud we can speak or how quickly we can achieve, but by the quiet confidence that comes from aligning our actions with our deepest values. In conclusion, applying silence to your life is not about withdrawing from the world, but about engaging with it in a more mindful and deliberate way. By creating space for silence, we gain the freedom to choose how we respond to life's challenges. We discover our true purpose, and through silence, we learn to act with intention. As you embrace the power of silence in your own life, you will find that everything you desire, success, peace, and fulfillment, will come to you naturally. 4. Trusting the natural timing. In a world that glorifies speed and instant gratification, the idea of trusting the natural timing of life can seem counterintuitive. We are constantly told to hustle, to push harder, to accelerate our progress at all costs. We are pressured to succeed quickly, to prove our worth, and to reach our goals faster than ever before. But the Stoic wisdom tells us that sometimes the greatest success comes not from rushing, but from trusting that everything unfolds at the right moment. By embracing patience and silence, we give ourselves the freedom to receive life's opportunities naturally, without forcing them or pushing against the natural flow of events. The concept of trusting the natural timing of life is built on the belief that everything happens when it is supposed to. Life, in its essence, has its own rhythm, its own flow, and it does not follow the arbitrary schedules or pressures we place upon it. When we learn to trust this flow, we stop fighting against the inevitable delays and challenges that come our way. Instead of resisting, we learn to be still, to listen, and to wait for the right time to act. In doing so, we open ourselves to opportunities that might have passed us by had we been too focused on our own timeline. Consider the lives of famous figures like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. These visionary entrepreneurs are known for their achievements, but what often gets overlooked is the patience and trust in timing that they exhibited throughout their careers. Jobs, for instance, did not rush into creating Apple into the behemoth it became. In fact, his time at Apple was filled with setbacks and challenges. After being ousted from the company he founded, Jobs did not immediately jump into another venture. Instead, he took the time to step back, reflect, and focus on the right ideas at the right moment. When the time was right, he returned to Apple, and with that, the company soared to new heights. Similarly, Elon Musk, despite his reputation for bold moves and ambitious goals, has always demonstrated an uncanny ability to trust the timing of his ventures. Whether it was with SpaceX, Tesla, or even his more recent ventures like Neuralink, Musk has shown a remarkable ability to stay the course, even when faced with significant obstacles. He did not rush to get results or demand instant success. Instead, he took calculated risks, worked quietly behind the scenes, and waited for the right moment to push his innovations into the world. Today, Musk is considered one of the most influential innovators of our time, not because he rushed, but because he trusted in the timing of his work. These examples highlight the power of patience and silence in achieving monumental success. Both Jobs and Musk were able to build their empires not by forcing opportunities, but by waiting for the right time to seize them. Their patience allowed them to observe, reflect, and take action when it truly mattered. Their success did not come from constant hustle or rushing towards their goals. Instead, it came from knowing when to act and when to wait. Stoicism teaches us that time is our greatest teacher. It provides us with the space to grow, to learn, and to gain the wisdom necessary to make the right decisions. However, time also has a cruel irony. As we grow older, time takes from us the very moments we thought we had under control. The philosopher Louis Hector Berlioz famously said, "Time is a great teacher, but unfortunately it kills all its pupils." This bittersweet truth reminds us that while time can help us gain wisdom and perspective, it also teaches us the inevitability of loss and impermanence. What Berlioz captures in this sentiment is the idea that, while time allows for growth and learning, we must also make the most of the time we have, trusting that each moment will bring the right lessons, even if they come later than we expect. However, despite this sobering truth, the Stoic approach is one of embracing time's lessons rather than resisting them. This idea is deeply rooted in the belief that everything happens in its own time, and we must learn to accept the unfolding of life rather than rushing through it. This is where silence comes in. Silence is not only a tool for self-reflection and introspection, but it is also a way of allowing time to work its magic. When we remain silent, we stop forcing things to happen. We stop striving for instant success, and instead, we allow ourselves to become more attuned to the natural rhythms of life. Trusting the natural timing also means recognizing that not everything is within our control. While we can work hard and strive toward our goals, we must acknowledge that there are factors beyond our influence. The ability to wait patiently, to let things unfold in their own time, is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. In fact, by relinquishing control over the timing of events, we actually gain more power. We stop wasting energy on things we cannot change and focus on the things we can, the quality of our work, our relationships, and the depth of our character. Think about a flower blooming. It cannot be forced to bloom faster or on a different schedule. Its petals open when the conditions are right, when the time is right. In the same way, our lives unfold according to their own timing. If we trust in that process, we will see that things come to us when we are truly ready for them, not when we desperately seek them. This does not mean that we are passive or idle. On the contrary, we continue to work, to grow, and to prepare. But we no longer obsess over the results or try to force them into being. Instead, we act with intention, and in doing so, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life. The trust in natural timing can be a liberating practice. It helps us release the anxiety of living in a world that demands constant productivity and achievement. By trusting that everything will come to us in due time, we allow ourselves to focus on the present moment, on doing our best work, and on being true to ourselves. We cease to measure our worth by the speed at which we achieve success, and instead, we come to appreciate the journey itself, the quiet moments of reflection, the small victories, and the growth that happens in between. This trust in timing also nurtures a deeper sense of gratitude. We come to appreciate the process, knowing that every setback, every delay, and every moment of waiting is a part of the greater story that is unfolding. Time does not take from us, it enriches us. It teaches us patience, resilience, and the beauty of the present moment. And when the time is right, we will know exactly what to do. In conclusion, trusting the natural timing of life is a profound act of wisdom and patience. It teaches us to embrace the flow of life, to accept that everything has its season, and to work quietly and patiently in the meantime. By trusting that everything will come to us in its own time, we allow ourselves to experience life fully without the anxiety of rushing toward a destination. We learn to appreciate the journey and trust that the right opportunities, the right success, and the right moments will come to us when we are ready. 5. The inner peace and freedom from external validation. In a world that constantly measures success by external achievements, whether it's career accomplishments, social media following, or the approval of others, it's easy to get caught in the trap of seeking validation from outside sources. We are conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to what others think of us, how much we accomplish, and how many accolades we can accumulate. But what if true freedom and inner peace could be found not in the approval of others, but in the acceptance of ourselves, in the quiet knowledge that we do not need to prove our worth to anyone? Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to this external pressure. One of the core teachings of Stoic philosophy is that true freedom comes from within. It is not determined by the opinions or judgments of others, but by our ability to control our own thoughts and actions. This freedom from external validation is perhaps one of the greatest gifts silence can offer. When we learn to quiet the noise around us, we begin to hear our own voice more clearly, and in that silence, we find the strength to accept ourselves as we are, without the need for approval. True inner peace arises when we no longer feel the need to prove ourselves. Silence gives us the space to reflect on who we are and what we truly value, independent of societal expectations. When we stop seeking validation, we stop measuring our worth based on external standards. Instead, we begin to define our own value by the integrity of our thoughts and actions. This shift in mindset is liberating, for it frees us from the constant cycle of comparison and competition that often drains our energy and peace of mind. Consider the example of an artist who, after years of seeking external validation, decides to turn inward. This artist spent much of their career chasing recognition, striving for fame and accolades. They focused on creating works that would please others, on meeting the expectations of the art world, and on gaining the approval of critics. Yet, despite their success, they felt empty. Their art had become a commodity, something to be sold rather than something to be expressed from the heart. One day, exhausted by this endless pursuit, the artist made a life-changing decision. They would no longer seek validation. They would stop worrying about how their work would be received by others, and instead focus solely on the joy of creation itself. This shift in focus allowed the artist to rediscover their passion and creativity. Without the pressure of external judgment, they began to create more freely, more authentically. They found peace in the act of creation itself, not in the applause that followed. In this silence, free from the need for validation, they found their true voice. This story is a powerful reminder that we do not need to seek validation from the outside world in order to be truly happy and fulfilled. When we embrace silence and turn inward, we can find the peace and freedom that comes from living according to our own values. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, understood the importance of inner peace. He wrote in Letters from a Stoic, "To be content with what you have is to be at peace." This simple yet profound statement captures the essence of Stoic philosophy. True peace comes from within, not from external circumstances. When we are content with ourselves, when we accept who we are and what we have, we find freedom. We no longer feel the need to chase after external markers of success or to prove our worth to others. Instead, we are free to live our lives according to our own standards, in alignment with our true values. This freedom from external validation does not mean that we stop caring about the world around us. Rather, it means that we stop relying on others to define our self-worth. We can still seek to help others, to contribute to society, and to pursue our goals, but we do so from a place of inner peace and self-assurance, not from a place of neediness or desperation for approval. When we free ourselves from the need to prove ourselves, we can act with integrity and authenticity, knowing that our value is inherent, not dependent on the judgments of others. Living without the need for validation is not an easy task, especially in a world that places so much emphasis on external success. The pressures to conform, to achieve, and to be constantly recognized can be overwhelming. However, the more we practice silence, the more we create space for self-reflection and inner peace. Silence allows us to reconnect with ourselves, to tune out the noise of the world, and to hear our true desires and needs. In this space, we can come to understand that we are enough, just as we are, without needing to seek approval or recognition from others. The journey toward inner peace and freedom from external validation is a process, one that requires patience and self-awareness. It is not something that happens overnight, but rather something that we cultivate over time through intentional practice. As we continue to embrace silence, we learn to trust ourselves more deeply, to trust our own judgment, and to find peace in the knowledge that we are worthy simply because we exist. In Stoicism, this idea of inner peace and freedom is tied closely to the practice of virtue. The Stoics believed that virtue, living a life in accordance with wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control, was the true measure of a good life. When we live virtuously, we do not need the approval of others to feel worthy, because our worth is defined by our actions and our character, not by external recognition. By embracing silence and focusing on our inner development, we can cultivate the virtues that lead to a peaceful, fulfilling life. This inner peace is not just about avoiding the noise of the world, it is about developing the strength to remain calm and centered no matter what is happening around us. It is the ability to maintain our composure in the face of adversity, to make decisions based on our values rather than our fears, and to live a life that is true to who we are rather than who others think we should be. In conclusion, the pursuit of external validation can lead us down a path of anxiety, dissatisfaction, and frustration. True peace and freedom come when we let go of the need to prove ourselves and instead find contentment within. Silence is the key to this inner peace, allowing us to reconnect with ourselves and redefine our worth on our own terms. As we embrace silence, we find the freedom to live authentically, to create without fear, and to be at peace with who we are. When we stop seeking approval from others, we are free to live a life of integrity and purpose, guided by our own values and inner wisdom. 6. The role of silence in decision-making. In life, we are often faced with decisions that require immediate action, especially in times of stress or conflict. Our instinct is to react quickly, to make a snap judgment based on our emotions or the external pressure we are feeling. Yet, Stoicism teaches us that the most important decisions are not made in haste, but in moments of clarity and self-control. Silence, in these moments, becomes a tool for wisdom, allowing us to step back from our immediate reactions and think more deeply about the consequences of our actions. By embracing silence before making decisions, we can gain the mental space needed to act with intention and prudence. When we are overwhelmed with emotion or stress, our ability to make rational decisions is often clouded. Fear, anger, frustration, or even excitement can distort our judgment, leading us to make decisions that we later regret. In contrast, silence offers a moment of pause, a chance to quiet the internal noise and regain our composure. It allows us to separate our emotions from our thoughts, giving us the clarity needed to assess the situation from a more objective standpoint. This deliberate pause is not a sign of weakness or indecision. Rather, it is a sign of strength and discipline. The ability to remain silent in a moment of pressure is the ability to control one's impulses and act with wisdom. Consider a situation in the workplace where a leader is confronted with a harsh criticism. In the heat of the moment, the instinct might be to defend oneself, to immediately respond with an explanation or a counter-argument. However, this response often leads to escalating conflict, making the situation more difficult to manage. Instead, the leader could choose to remain silent, taking a moment to breathe and think before reacting. This silence allows them to reflect on the criticism objectively, to separate their personal feelings from the situation, and to consider the best course of action. By doing so, they may find that the best response is not to engage in a heated argument, but to listen, to ask clarifying questions, or even to apologize if necessary. Silence, in this case, leads to a more thoughtful and measured decision, one that is likely to resolve the situation more effectively than a quick emotional reaction. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, reminds us of the importance of self-control in decision-making. He famously said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The Discourses. This statement speaks to the core of Stoic philosophy. True freedom comes from the ability to control our emotions, our thoughts, and our actions. When we are governed by our impulses, we are not free. We are slaves to our emotions and external circumstances. By practicing silence, we regain our freedom. We are no longer at the mercy of our immediate reactions. Instead, we can choose how to respond to any situation, guided by reason and wisdom rather than by fear or anger. The role of silence in decision-making is especially evident in high-stakes situations where the consequences of a hasty decision can be significant. For example, in a business context, a manager might be faced with a difficult decision about whether to cut costs by laying off employees. In a situation like this, the pressure to act quickly can be overwhelming, especially if the company is facing financial difficulties. However, if the manager rushes to make the decision without taking time to reflect, they may overlook important factors or fail to consider the human impact of their decision. By taking a moment of silence, the manager can step back from the immediate pressure and carefully consider all aspects of the situation, financial, emotional, and ethical. This space allows them to make a more informed, compassionate decision, one that takes into account not only the company's bottom line, but also the well-being of its employees. Silence also plays a crucial role in leadership. Great leaders are often those who can remain calm and composed in the face of adversity, who can make decisions with clarity even in the midst of chaos. This ability to remain silent in high-pressure situations allows them to lead with confidence, inspiring trust and respect from others. When leaders act impulsively or speak without thinking, they risk losing credibility and making decisions that undermine their authority. But when they take the time to pause, to listen, and to reflect, they gain the perspective needed to lead effectively. Silence allows leaders to make decisions based on long-term goals rather than short-term pressures, creating a stable and positive environment for their teams. Moreover, silence fosters a deeper level of listening. In any decision-making process, it is essential to gather as much information as possible before acting. Silence enables us to listen more attentively, to truly hear what others are saying, without the interference of our own thoughts or biases. Whether it is a colleague offering feedback, a team member sharing an idea, or a client expressing concerns, silence allows us to fully absorb the information being presented. In doing so, we make more informed decisions, ones that are based on a comprehensive understanding of the situation. In contrast, when we rush to speak or to make decisions, we may miss critical details or fail to understand the full scope of the issue. By embracing silence, we create the space needed to listen deeply and to process information thoughtfully. This is particularly important in leadership, where the best decisions often come from listening to others, considering all perspectives, and then choosing the best course of action. It is also important to note that silence is not synonymous with inaction. Rather, silence is a proactive choice to wait, to reflect, and to act with intention. In fact, in many cases, silence is the most powerful form of action. By choosing not to react immediately, we give ourselves the opportunity to align our decisions with our values and goals. Silence is a tool for mindfulness, a way of ensuring that our actions are in harmony with our deeper sense of purpose. It allows us to make decisions that are not driven by external pressure, but by internal clarity and wisdom. In conclusion, silence is an invaluable tool in the decision-making process. It provides the space needed to separate our emotions from our thoughts, to listen deeply, and to reflect before acting. By practicing silence, we can avoid hasty decisions and instead make choices that are thoughtful, informed, and aligned with our values. As Epictetus reminds us, true freedom comes from mastering ourselves, and silence is a key practice in achieving that self-mastery. In the quiet moments, we find the wisdom needed to navigate life's challenges with grace and clarity. As we journey through life, we often find ourselves lost in the noise, rushing to prove our worth, constantly seeking validation, and reacting impulsively to every situation. But the true path to success, peace, and personal growth is found not in the external world, but in the quiet spaces we create within ourselves. Silence is not emptiness. It is the birthplace of clarity, strength, and wisdom. It is in the stillness that we connect with our deepest values, make decisions aligned with our true purpose, and free ourselves from the shackles of comparison and external judgment. The Stoics understood this timeless truth. True freedom is not external, but internal. When we silence the noise around us, we gain the power to master our own thoughts, actions, and emotions. We no longer need the approval of others because we have learned to validate ourselves. And it is in this state of self-acceptance and inner peace that everything we truly desire, success, happiness, fulfillment, comes to us naturally. Now, imagine what your life could look like if you embraced silence in every aspect, if you trusted the natural timing of your journey, made decisions with purpose and clarity, and stopped seeking external validation. The transformation would be profound. This is not just theory, it's a path that can change the course of your life, just as it has for the great philosophers and leaders who came before us. So I challenge you, will you step into the silence and embrace the power that awaits? The answers are already within you, ready to be uncovered. If this resonates with you, don't stop here. Dive deeper into the timeless wisdom that Stoicism offers. Explore our channel for more insights that will reshape the way you think, live, and succeed. Your journey toward true freedom begins now.